Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the EEARSS Podcast, produced by Terrier TV here at Titusville High School. I am Frank. I almost said I am Bill. I am Frank. That is Bill. We wish Cindy was here. Cindy's got some things going on. We're keeping her in thought and prayer. And
yes.
How's it going, buddy?
Good. It is rival week here at THS.
I am excited about that game tomorrow.
Playing the big astronaut. We're playing them on a Thursday night so as not to be playing on Halloween.
That makes sense. It does make sense. I'm very excited. Yeah. I'm very excited about that game. You'll be there for that one, yeah?
Yes,
okay.
I will be there.
And that is is that just the last home game, or is that the last actual game?
It is
of
the last
season?
regular season game.
And has THS made the playoffs or no?
I do not know. I think it's still up in the air.
Okay.
It depends on how some other teams do.
Okay, fair enough. How does my fur look today?
It looks very, very furry.
Do I look matted? Should I have brushed out?
I don't know. I think that kind of thing, if you brush it, I think half of it will disappear.
Yeah, probably so. I don't think it's going to make it
I don't
to the
think
wash.
it's made that well.
So I could get the dog's trimmers and kind of go over it a couple of times, you know what I mean? And maybe sparkle it up a little bit, put some shiny stuff in it. But again, it's supposed to be for a certain type of animal.
Right.
I'm going to make people watch to figure it out, but right now I'm just Fuzzy Frank.
So there you go. Okay.
Just very, very Fuzzy Frank.
So are you...
the security guard, when I pulled into the school,
right?
I guess it's a new guy. I had never seen that guy before. Yeah. He looked over at me, and then he took a double take, and he went, can I help you? And I said, I'm here to do the podcast, which I'm sure he had no idea what I was talking about, but I just pretend like I belonged, which, I mean, I guess I kind of sort of do. At this point, 5 seasons in, I guess I kind of sort of belong.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, you could tell there were multiple questions, but he did not ask them.
Yeah, and he's also very much by the rules. You almost broke him, probably.
Yeah, he's like, that dude is.
He does not want to do
He's dressed up in
that.
a giant furry costume.
What is that doing? And then he's coming into my school. What is that all about?
He looks like a gorilla with no head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, well, I mean, and I think it's great because my actual fur blends in with its fur really well.
Yes, it does.
Like you can't tell where I start and it begins.
That's true.
Which is exactly how it should be in a great costume.
Mm-hmm.
Great costume. All right, Bill, you ready to jump into this?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right, so today on the podcast, we are joined by Adeline Robinson. Adeline, how are you doing? So great to have you on here.
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So I've had a couple of these conversations recently where I've literally started it off this way, and it's 100% true. I have admired you from a distance and your work for so long, and I'm so excited to chat with you about it and talk about what you do. It's I'm all tingly.
Oh my goodness! Oh, I'm so honored. You're going to make me blush over here. It's still mind-boggling to me, truthfully, that people have my artwork in their homes and that people know I exist, and so that really means a lot.
Yeah, I know. I'm not the only one that thinks this way, but your art is outstanding. For those of you who don't know, who are listening, you're an artist. You focus a lot on wildlife art. I'm not sure what you do beyond that. You can talk to us about that here in just a second. But it's kind of groundbreaking stuff. I know a lot of wildlife artists. I have some friends who are really, really talented wildlife artists. It's just the way you portray things is so unique and in some situations so natural that I haven't seen anybody really be able to touch it.
Well, thank you. That is a very high compliment. That's my goal for the most part in my pieces is to try to show off the natural beauty of the animals in a way that people maybe haven't looked at them that way before, which is why a lot of my work primarily consists of reptiles and amphibians and animals that are more misunderstood, maybe lesser known about. But I know because so many people have those misconceptions about them, I figured artwork would kind of be maybe a fun bridge for people to pique their curiosity about how beautiful they could be, and to maybe want to learn a little bit more about them.
Yeah, your art pieces talk to themselves.
I got to ask. So, what is your medium? What do you work with? Are you a painter?
So, I primarily work in 2 mediums. I kind of bounce back and forth between the 2. So Copic markers, which are a fine art alcohol marker from Japan, are my primary medium that a lot of my pieces are done. So when it's an animal with a white background, typically those are usually done in Copic markers. I also do acrylic painting as well, with slow drying acrylics. It's not as frequent as the Copic markers. So truthfully, it might sound a little funny, but I almost kind of feel like I don't know if I would consider myself a painter because I feel like I don't have that many paintings under my belt. Usually I'll do like maybe a couple a year. But they're a lot of fun to play with. And it's kind of almost the opposite in terms of how the mediums work. And so it's always a little tricky kind of bouncing back and forth between them because the application of them is so different.
So now, do you ever try like something different, like a different medium just to try it? Or
yeah.
Are you, and have you, tell me your most glorious failure.
The most glorious feeling?
Failure. When did you do
failing.
something that just was like, oh, this isn't working?
There's definitely been times where I tested some paper. So I guess to maybe back it up a little bit, Copic markers are these alcohol markers that they're usually best on semi-absorbent paper to be able to get that realism look. It almost is kind of similar to watercolor in a certain way, where you do a lot of layering. It's kind of like transparent layers of pigment laid on top of each other to create a deeper color. And so I had been using a couple pads of paper for a long time, for several years, and loved them, but thought, hey, maybe I should kind of look elsewhere, and maybe I should actually branch out a little bit, try different paper types. Maybe there's something better out there. So I went to my local art store and picked up all of the pads that were specifically for markers and alcohol markers, and even from the brand itself. And so I was super excited. Obviously, if the brand that I'm buying my markers from makes paper, it's got to be perfect. So sure enough, I tried it, and it was like unusable. I tried to make it.
Wow.
Yeah, it just the way the marker is laid on the paper, it pooled, and it was just super goofy. And usually, not to toot my own horn, but if there is a mistake or if there is an area that went maybe not as planned, I, thankfully, knocking on wood so far, usually can find a way to adapt and make it work. And for that piece, I had started it, and then I had to actually abandon that one. That's the only one I've ever truly abandoned because the paper was just not cooperating with the markers very well. So that's probably my biggest mess up that I couldn't use. Another mess up that I've had that I ended up, lemons into lemonading it, was my landlord that owns the building here that I have my studio out of. I was making him a Christmas present. And so I did this big painting for him in gouache, which is a type of paint that I haven't used before. Was super excited to use it. Spent a lot of time doing this Art Deco style Florida piece because he's in Cape Coral for 6 months out of the year. And so I wanted to have a cool piece for his Florida home. And I'm doing the finishing touches, just putting the family name on there and adding some details. And I shook my metallic paint marker, and it splattered all over the entire thing.
Ooh, yikes.
Right as I was done with it.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, so it just sprayed everywhere, and I was like, oh no, like there's no way I can't hide this. So I incorporated it into the piece. I'd added gold splashes kind of all throughout the piece and evened it out a little bit so it wasn't just heavy on one side, and it ended up looking actually pretty cool.
That's brave.
So just
That's
kind of
brave.
rolled with it.
We just like,
But
okay, we're going to put more. That's cool.
Yeah, it was a heart-stopping moment for sure, though. It definitely was a surprise I wasn't anticipating.
All right, so let's go back in time here for a second and walk me through kind of a little bit of your career journey to where you are now. What led you to your interest in reptiles, amphibians? Kind of walk us through the early versions of Adeline and how you got to where you're at.
For sure. So to make it not too long, I suppose, grew up with animals at home and was always very, very grateful to be able to have parents that were very supportive of creatures and animals. And anytime there was something that I really wanted, they would have me do a trifold, presentation about the animals and why we should be able to keep them in the house, how much it's going to cost, what the care is, basically, long story short, just do a whole presentation on each animal.
Whoa.
And so I was able to have quite a few really cool exotics as a kid. And pretty much had them all throughout high school. And my first job when I was 14 was at a specialty aquarium store here in Deerfield, Illinois. I worked there for 8 years and simultaneously was also working at the Wildlife Discovery Center in Lake Forest, Illinois. So I got to work with a lot of really cool critters that you don't get to see very often, and they're no longer out of Illinois, and so it,
Yeah, Rob's the Carmichaels are good friends, and he's actually been on the podcast before.
oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to work for Rob and for Tony, and it was really cool working there because there was just so many animals that I never would have gotten to work with otherwise, that I'm very grateful to be able to have time spent with.
Excellent human beings.
Yeah, they're super, super sweet. I also am an equestrian, so I kind of dabbled in working with stables as well for show jumping. And from there, I ended up moving probably about like an hour and a half away or so from where I was working there, and ended up having to close that chapter and started working at Birds and Beasts Pet Shop in Crystal Lake, Illinois. So I worked there for a few years, and it's really awesome because there's not a lot of shops like that around anymore, where they breed their own reptiles in-house. They breed their own birds in-house and hand-raise the parrots. And so I was able to get a lot of really cool hands-on experience with parrots, which I was more aquatics and reptile background. So it was really cool trying something new, and it's a really wonderful shop that's been there for over 30 years now.
Wow.
And yeah, so from there, I started doing some graphic design on the side and ended up getting a job offer. So my husband back then, we were friends. He was a photographer and I was a graphic designer, and they asked us if we would move out to Indiana to work at an auction house to be the in-house graphic designer and photography. So I'm like, oh, well, I probably should get a grown-up job one of these days, kind of like working with animals full time doesn't count, because I feel like a lot of people seem to think it doesn't. But
Yeah, we get that sometimes, yes.
Yeah. So I moved out of state, worked there for a couple of years, and it started out great. But then about 6 months in, I don't know, something changed, and pretty much everything we were told to get us out there turned out not to be followed through. And very quickly, I kind of got, pretty depressed working somewhere where I was putting in, I like to take pride in my work and putting in 100% of my effort and time and dedication into this business, and it nothing was enough. So on the side, I decided to try to pick up maybe sketching a little bit. Maybe I'll get back to drawing a little bit, because I did a lot of artwork in high school, and after that I pretty much maybe would doodle once a year or so. So a lot of folks don't realize I actually took 8 or 9 years of not doing any artwork at all before getting into this.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I started the Inktober challenge, and I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
No, what
it's
is that?
a prompt list for every day in October. And it's basically a fun little prompt list challenge for artists. So for every day in October, there's a random word, and you're supposed to draw something based off of that. And because I didn't have a lot of time, because my 9 to 5 pretty quickly turned into a 9 to 8:30 or 10 o'clock at night, I did little 1-inch by 1-inch square ink drawings of animals. So I would basically take that prompt list word and try to turn it into something animal related. And so for every day in October, I did these teeny little drawings. And one day somebody goes, "Hey, do you have an art page?" And in my mind, I'm like, "No, why would I have an art page? That's silly. Like, oh, that's ridiculous." But sure enough, I decided to make one, because why not? Let me, maybe I'll just make a little page and I'll put all my stupid little drawings and sketches in here. And before I know it, I'm starting to share them a little bit more. I'm starting to draw a little bit more, and kind of getting into the swing of trying to flex that creativity again, because it had been since high school that I had done anything like that. And started doing some animal portraits, started doing some logos, started doing more and then more. And before I knew it, I was staying up until 1 or 2 in the morning after work, working on commissions and logos for people, and got to the point where I was actually doing better in my side hustle than I was at my salaried job that I moved out of state for. So
That's
after
impressive.
a lengthy conversation with Chris and my friends and close family members, it was a really scary decision, but I decided to go full time with it. And yeah, that was like the scariest decision I've ever made. Because since I was 14, I've always been employed by somebody, and so went for it, and here we are. It's grown a lot since then.
So,
Wow.
what do you remember? Like, as you were going through this, was there a certain piece that you did that people went, "Oh my gosh," that really drew some attention, and people were like, "What? Like, wait a second, we need to start following her and seeing what she's doing because this is unbelievable." Was there a certain piece that you kind of felt that, or has it just been growing consistently throughout?
That's a really good question. In the very early days, I didn't have a whole lot of pieces when I first started bringing my artwork to shows. I had maybe 5. And it went from a little clear plastic flyer holder on the Birds and Bees pet shop table to my current booth setup now. But when I first started, I did a Amazonian palm viper, and I did a Philippine large-scaled water monitor that got a lot of really good reception. And from there, kind of started bouncing back and forth between trying to do what I wanted to do, which kind of got less and less, and doing popular requests. And so there are definitely some pieces that stand out in popularity. So like the Blue and Solaris piece that I did was still a very popular piece. And it's kind of popular animals that are either kept as pets or really colorful and look kind of cool. And it's actually neat because it's pretty regional. Depending on where I'm at, different things are popular. But yeah, I can't think of like one piece in particular, but I think it was just kind of a slow growing, getting more and more pieces in, getting new art, at each show, so people would come around and see what was new.
So
And now we're at the point of retiring a lot of pieces to make space for new stuff.
So these are prints of originals?
That is correct, yes.
Okay,
So I sell
okay.
the originals. I also sell prints that we make, and we back and sleeve everything here ourselves. I also do some canvas prints, and we do stickers, and we've got coloring books.
Oh, cool.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's just mind-boggling. And so can you also tell us about a little bit about why you chose reptiles and amphibians? I mean, as a person who spends my life pretty much working with reptiles my entire life, that's one of the many things that drew me to y'all. Explain to us like the draw there to the reptiles and amphibians. You touched it on a little bit, but kind of give us a little bit of that.
Yeah, so I did a lot of wildlife education when I was working at the Wildlife Discovery Center, and kind of just growing up, I always enjoyed animals that were misunderstood. We always had snakes at home, and you get those reactions from people. Oh, you've got snakes. Oh, you got reptiles, and it was frustrating for me because I wanted to share how cool they are with everybody. So when I was at the Wildlife Discovery Center, and actually before that too, I would do educational demos for kids. When I was working at the Wildlife Discovery Center, we did a lot of field trips. We did works with Chicago Public Parks and or Chicago Park District, and would bring animals out there and kind of do outreach with them. And I noticed there's so much misrepresentation out there. And I thought, okay, there's a lot of people that are afraid of the animal itself. But maybe if they see an art piece of it, the art piece obviously can't touch them and can't scare them. It's a 2D piece on paper. And hopefully that can kind of get people interested in the animals themselves. So just because there isn't a whole lot of reptile art out there, there are quite a few reptile artists now that I'm friends with, but in general, you see countless tigers and lions and giraffes and a lot of really big mammals depicted in artwork, but you don't see a whole lot of, rare amphibians. And I wanted to try to bring that to people, make them curious about wanting to learn about them, or look into local wildlife conservation or what they could do to try to, help basically keep these animals in their habitats. And I just think they're totally underrated, and I want to show people how great they are, I guess, is the kind of the long story short.
Makes sense. Do you have a favorite piece you've done, and do you have a favorite type of animal to do art of?
Definitely, I've got a couple favorite types of animals to do art of. The favorite piece kind of depends on what I've got going on, so it kind of changes a bit. but vipers are kind of an always favorite of mine, just because there's so much variety in terms of head shape and structure, pattern, scale type, keeled scales versus smooth scales, their coloration. I just think they're so freaking cool the way they look, and they're neat animals to me. So they're one of my favorites. I also really enjoy drawing crocodilians, which I don't really have that many drawings of, but I would love to do more of them. Their textures are really fun to work on.
Yeah,
And
I
in
might
terms
have
of,
one for you on that, by the way.
oh yeah, oh sweet.
Yeah, I have one for you on that, but we'll talk about that another time.
Oh, awesome. Monitors are a favorite of mine too. But in terms of like a current favorite piece, it kind of bounces back and forth a little bit. There's a few favorites that stand out. So there's a black caiman piece that I did that I really like, that I still like. It's very rare for me to still like something after a couple years of doing it, because usually I can go back and kind of critique it and see what I would change. Doesn't mean it's a bad piece, but it just means, oh, I could do better next time. For the black caiman, I still really like that piece a lot. And the Komodo dragon that I did earlier in the year, that's still a favorite of mine. The Siamese croc is another one too, I would say. So I think like those are probably the top 3 at the moment.
Now, I know you're easy to find on social media, but can you tell everybody, and of course we're going to tag everybody in this stuff when we put it out, can you share your website, your social media, and all that jazz with us real quick, and how people reach out to you to maybe have a piece done, or how they purchase all those good things?
Yeah, for sure. So my website is AdelineRobinsonArt.com, or you could just Google Adeline Robinson Art and usually it'll pop up. So I have my original artwork for sale on there, as well as prints and stickers and some coloring books. I post mostly on Instagram Reels and Facebook. I'll be honest, I'm behind on my TikTok and my YouTube. Sorry, guys. But I do live stream on YouTube, and so there's a lot of days that I'll literally just hang out and draw and stream all day and chill out with people and chit chat and answer questions. So that's always a lot of fun. But that's probably the best way to find me is through the website. And then for commission information or for logo information, I do have that on my website too. So yeah, AdelineRobinsonArt.com, the best way to find all my info.
And if there's a young person out there, we do this podcast at a high school. It's actually the high school I went to. We have a lot of families that listen to this show. If there's younger people out there that are maybe enjoying art and they want to start maybe going down a path of that being a career choice, do you have any advice for them?
Oh, absolutely. I got lots.
Yeah, please share.
So the biggest thing I noticed is, for me as a kid, at least, this is in my experience, and I see this in a lot of other young people too, and even in adults. It's everybody. It's just general advice. If you're looking to do artwork and you're using a creative outlet, those mistakes that you make are what are going to make you a better artist. So a lot of people get frustrated, and I hear this all the time at the shows. Oh, well, I started drawing, but I suck at it, and so I don't do it anymore. The only way to get better is by making those mistakes and by learning from those mistakes and applying them forward. So I try to tell people, don't get mad at yourself when you're making mistakes. That's how you learn, and that's how you get better. You don't get better without making those. So just keep on keeping on. Take what you learned in the previous piece and apply it to the next one. And I still do it with every one of my pieces. Pretty much almost every piece that I've got, I can critique it. I can say, oh, this is an area that I'm going to focus on next time. And that's how you get better. In terms of going into art as a career or for work, I feel like I am very fortunate in the fact that I was able to do a lot of networking before jumping into this. So my circumstances are truthfully very lucky. It took a lot of hard work for sure, but I'm also very grateful because I had a community that I was already involved with before getting into it. So for people that are completely starting from scratch, I would say to focus on their work, focus on bettering their work and trying to be the best either artist or creative that they can, and doing research on their type of audience, what they're looking to do, what makes them happy. You almost have to make a list in your mind too of the type of work you're not going to do to know for the future. but to look into your audience before jumping into it and before putting yourself out there. And once you feel ready, then, make your pages, start putting your stuff either out there in groups that are relevant or finding that niche that you're wanting to be in. And then from there, usually that's a good direction to at least start from to then kick off the business. But sometimes I see people jump a little far ahead of themselves before really taking a look at what niche or what direction they want to go in. And with art, it's not just being a great artist, it's about, marketing skills as well and talking to customers. And so there's a lot of different aspects of this that truthfully I never would have known about without jumping into it. So research, and then focusing on working on your skills.
No, that's ingenious. And you're right. Wanting to do art or be involved with any piece of any business, you did what is the best thing. And we see this from so many professions. It seems like this comes up at least a few times a season where we talk to somebody they started off at a job at a certain spot, and next thing you know, they're the president of the company or they're running a nonprofit based on that. You literally started off working with wildlife, and now you're doing art on wildlife. You've worked your way through talking about the animals, educating people on the animals, taking care of them, and now it seems like a natural course. You were already an artist, and now you're doing art of the stuff you love. It just it seems like it all just kind of incorporates itself in just this. It's like a love story.
It's like the circle of life.
It's like a love story. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Yeah, it's pretty
I
neat.
never anticipated doing this, truthfully. A lot of people are like, oh, it's crazy. You got to follow your childhood dream. I'm like, I didn't know this was an option at all. And I'm so grateful to be able to do that, to be able to use artwork as a way to try to showcase these animals and why I'm so passionate about them. It's been a wild ride for sure, and I'm super grateful for it.
Well, I'll tell you what, this has been a great conversation. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to come on and chat with us. And I'm going to give you a call later on and talk to you about this idea I have and see what you think. As I think
awesome, sounds great.
I think it might be a little lucrative for you too.
Oh, sweet. Well, I look forward to your call.
I appreciate you very much, and thank you so much for the time. And yeah, you just keep doing the awesome things you guys do. It's good Lord. I look forward to every post you guys make and kind of go, wow, that is unbelievable.
Oh, well, that means a lot to hear, so I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Have a great day, and we will catch up with you again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good one, guys.
Right. You too.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable stuff. Wow, it's neat to hear people that follow their dreams. You know what I mean? And again, like she said, she didn't even know it was a possibility or a dream a dream she could really follow, and it just kind of happened when she jumped back into it.
Right. Oh yeah.
That's special. That's special.
And to be able to be brave enough to jump into the deep end like that.
Yeah, that would be
Amazing.
scary. Yeah. If it was something you're like, man, I've, like she was saying, worked her whole life and just, this is a jump into something totally new and hoping it continues to strive.
Yeah.
Because you can't, I don't know. I mean, you would expect return customers on art, I'm sure, but not there. I mean, it's not like they're buying gasoline. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's got to be top end, and then they're going to recommend it to their friends, which their friends see it, and their friends see it in their homes or wherever. It's just, a good artist. Their work sells itself, right?
Oh yeah.
That's the way it goes. Bill, that was a blast.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was really neat. All right, y'all. We're going to end this thing. Thank you so much for tuning into the EEARSS podcast, produced here at Terrier TV. Wow. I feel overwhelmingly blessed each time we do one of these podcasts to chat with people about the things they love and their journey in life. And we appreciate you jumping along with us. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will catch you all next week. Bye-bye.